Welcome to the Armani Talks YouTube channel, the #1 YouTube channel for you to level up your communication skills, learn the art of public speaking, social skills, and personal branding to take your message to the world. For today's episode, we're going to be entering the world of public speaking, and I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to dominate your next table topic speech. So if you're new to Toastmasters or you haven't joined the club yet, it is by far one of the #1 public speaking clubs in the entire world. It's basically when a lot of people from your community who also wants to develop their public speaking ends up joining the club and they work together. They have planned speeches, they have evaluations, they have grammarians, they have people that count anytime you say like, so, like different kinds of filler words. And they have an impromptu speech section known as table topics. Table topics is when you are given 1 to 2 minutes to talk about a random topic. So you don't have any time to prepare. This is something that you have to do off top of the head. And typically the person who's choosing these topics are people known as the table topics master. They typically decided the meeting before, so they get some time to prepare, and boom, during speech day, they're choosing different people. I often get the question, well, Armani, I'm just going there to observe. They're not gonna call on me, right? You know, I keep it real on this channel. I'm gonna be honest. They may call you. It really depends on the clubs. Some clubs, the table topics masters wants the guests to get involved, and other times they ask for volunteers. So it really depends on the club. I don't wanna say that they'll never choose you, because there's a chance that they can. And I remember this one story. This was a few years back, and this is when I was the recruitment chair for Toastmasters. And I remember there was this gentleman. He was in his late 60s, a dude named Andy. And I remember having a close bond with Andy because I was the guy that was really recruiting him. I was really getting excited for him to join the club because not only would that be that I recruited someone, my first ever recruit, but two is because this guy is really trying to improve in public speaking. Well, I remember he eventually ended up signing up for the club, and I remember the first meeting that he joined, he was telling me, like, he was sitting right next to me and he was telling me, "Yo, Armani, I'm going to kill it in my Toastmasters journey." He's literally telling me this in the meeting. Well, that same meeting, he ended up getting called on stage for table topics. And at this point, his whole tune had changed. He was like, "Wait a minute, Armani, I'm not ready to give a speech yet. I literally just got inducted today." And I'm like, "Yo, it'll be fine. It's only a 1 or 2 minute speech. It's not gonna be anything bad. Just go on and do it." So he gets called on stage, and I kid you not, he gets called on stage and says absolutely nothing. I forgot what his topic was. I think it was something about coconuts or something like that, but whatever. He did not say a single word when he was on stage. And by the time he sits down, the dude was completely silent, like completely silent. And by the end of the meeting, he told me that he wasn't going to be attending again. He said that he was so embarrassed by getting humiliated on stage that he was not going to even bother trying again. And needless to say, your boy tried to convince him, like, "Yo, bro, don't give up so quick. I mean, your journey is literally just beginning today. How are you going to cherish something if you automatically start dominating it?" But he wasn't having it. Andy was not having it. And from that day on, I never saw Andy again. Like, he literally just quit and never set foot in Toastmasters again. So this is a very bleak way to start this episode, but I just want to be real with you. Table topics is one of the main contributors of a lot of people quitting even before they begun. So I wanted to create this video to give you some honest insights on what you should expect. Because I kid you not, I've seen over 10 plus people during my recruitment journey quit Toastmasters just due to table topics. That's why I want to give you some really practical insights that will give you realistic expectations, not unrealistic ones. Okay, so really stay alert for these tips because you're not gonna find them in other YouTube channels, you're not gonna find them in other blog articles, etc. You're gonna find them right here in the Armani Talks YouTube channel. So if you're excited for these practical tips, make sure you drop a like for me right on below. So the first practical tip that I want to give you in terms of table topics is that humor always helps. It always helps. Because here's the very funny thing about table topics. It's one of these moments where the audience, they're sort of sitting in the edge of their seat. Because it's a very unusual act, if you think about it. Like, the audience really does not know the next words that are going to come out of your mouth. So automatically, there's this level of tension that they're feeling. And this level of tension is so freaking like there that you can just cut it with anything that is a little bit of humorous. Anything. If it's a little funny, you should experiment with it. Because at this moment, people are very willing to laugh. I remember the first time that I was giving table topics in one of my clubs that I joined. I remember I was giving a speech about Space Jam. The guy asked me what my favorite sports movie was. I was saying Space Jam. And I remember I was talking about Michael Jordan. And out of nowhere, I misspoke. And I said, Michael Jordan and Mickey Mouse were killing it. And automatically, that was something out of the ordinary for the audience. They don't know why I said Mickey Mouse. And they just started chuckling. I was pretty embarrassed because I meant to say Bugs Bunny, but I accidentally said Mickey Mouse. But the way I said it, and how I held my smile right after, I'm like, Michael Jordan and Mickey Mouse. And everyone starts laughing. I'm like, all right, let me go with it. This got them laughing. And once the audience is laughing, in many ways, in the public speaking world, you two bond. Anytime an audience laughs at you, the speaker and the audience bonds. Laughs at you or with you, whatever the case is. Just pretend like that's what you were going for and keep going to the next point. So the first thing is humor helps. And if you don't know what to be funny about, just change your tonality and say it with a smile. Okay? Just change your tonality and say it with a smile, but humor helps. That's number one. Two is that you want to think less and you want to do more. You want to think less and you want to do more. As a beginner speaker, you are not really going to have much experience in table topics. I get that. So you shouldn't be thinking too much at this point, like, oh my God, like, what am I going to say? They just gave me this topic. You don't want to do any of that. You want to get the topic, you want to get on stage and just start firing away. This seems very counterintuitive. You may be thinking, well, Armani, what if I say something stupid? Well, go on, say something stupid. Toastmasters is a very supportive community where you're allowed to mess up without feeling like an idiot. However, on the contrary, if you're someone who's just getting on stage and thinking a lot, since you don't have enough speaking experience, all these little details are going to seem like something massive. Like, yeah, talk about this, talk about that, talk about that. And you're going to be quiet and you're going to be just thinking and thinking and thinking. And eventually it's going to come to a point where the table topics master gets on stage and says, all right, how about we do it next time? And just like that, you realize you just choked. That's literally what happened the first time I ever got on stage and did a table topics. I remember I ended up choking, but I didn't even notice I was choking because I was keep on thinking of the next thing that I was going to say. So in the beginning stages, your details doesn't really matter. What you want to do is you want to get speaking experience. So think less and do more. All right, keep on speaking and speaking and speaking. And as you gain experience, what's going to happen is now you can think a little bit more. You can plan the hierarchy of your speech rather quickly, and then you can talk about the details. But ultimately, when you're first getting started, just fire away. All right, just fire away. Third is you always want to maintain the correct perspective. I remember when I first began my Toastmasters journey, there was another fellow in the club. His name was Sam, also a Bengali gentleman, and he was in his late 60s or early 70s. And I remember I used to think that Sam was born on this planet just to give table topics. I mean, he was that good. The dude was funny, dude was very charismatic. Something about this dude can just design complex stories out of the blue moon. I mean, this guy was that freaking special. And I remember when I was just a beginner, I used to always think, well, how come this Bengali guy is doing it so well while I suck at it? How come I'm not walking around the stage like this guy? How come I'm not as charismatic as this guy? How come I'm not as funny as this guy? But after I started to talk to Sam, I started to gain some perspective. I realized that Sam, he had been doing this shit for decades. 4 decades. And me, it was literally my first week in the meeting. So I needed to stop comparing myself to Sam right now and rather be inspired and rather say, if I keep doing what I'm doing right now, I'll eventually get to the stage that Sam is in. All right, so you always want to maintain perspective. You are investing in one of the toughest skill sets, but one of the most lucrative skill sets out there. The ability to think on your feet. Every single time you take on stage, every single time that you do a table topic with people looking at you as you're thinking on your feet and formulating thoughts, each time you win. Each time you win. I see people that practice impromptu speaking on their own, and that's fine. Like doing it in the car, doing it in the shower, doing it in your own free time, that's fine. But doing it when there's tons and tons of eyeballs looking at you, homie, that's a completely different feeling. Completely different feeling. So every time you get on stage, I don't care if you do fuck up, you are winning. And each time, feeling those uncomfortable feelings and producing anyways makes you so much more mindful of the task that eventually you're going to be able to do it mindlessly. All right? So you're going to have this skill set that's going to last you for lifetimes just because you are willing to put yourself out there and try it out. So those are the 3 tips that I really want you to consider in terms of your public speaking journey, especially with table topics. Humor always helps. Humor gets you glued to the audience and the audience loves you more for it. 2 is that you want to keep on practicing, and in the initial stages, you just want to do more and think less. Do more and think less. This allows you to have more faith in yourself, allows you to have more faith in your words in the long term. And 3, always maintain your correct perspective. Understand that it's a journey. I don't care if you've been in table topics master for 20 plus years. You can always improve, okay? So don't be comparing your first day to someone's 10th year. Just don't do it. Maintain your perspective and focus on your journey. Keep on doing this and understand that eventually you're going to improve. If you keep on showing up, you're going to keep on improving. And eventually, you'll be collecting some of these ribbons yourself. If this video helps you today and you want to learn more about public speaking and how to level up in the world of Toastmasters, then you want to sign up for my free daily newsletter where I drop tips like this on the daily. Every single day at 7 p.m., I drop exclusive insights on how you can become a more better, effective, and engaging communicator. To sign up, join the Level Up tribe by hitting the description box in the link and subscribe today. Thank you, my friend, for joining the Armani Talks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you next time.